Hi gardening friends, my name is Alexis and welcome to my channel. So in this video I wanted to share with you what I'll be growing on my deck for the summer. So I grow primarily vegetables in containers on my deck, and then in ground I grow flowers. I really don't grow any vegetables in ground, at least not yet. So on my deck I have whiskey barrels, I have a bunch of grow bags. So I have 5 black grow bags that are all 10-gallon. And then there are 5 grow bags that are different colors. Actually, I have 6 black grow bags. And then I have 5 grow bags that I call the colored grow bags because they have, they're all different colors. And then I have an array of different size pots that I will grow other vegetables in. So I'd like to just walk through what my plan is for the deck for this year. So looking at the colored grow bags, I'm going to plant collards this year, and this will be the first time that I've actually grown collards. So they're Georgia collards that I'll be starting from seed, and I'll grow 1 collard in each 10-gallon grow bag. And then in the other 2 colored bags, I'll be growing bush beans. And I'll be planting those direct for seed. I'll probably plant hopefully about 4 seeds in each grow bag, but those will be direct sowed outside, whereas the collards I started from seed. And then in the black grow bags, the 6 black grow bags that I have, I'll be starting the season out growing onions. So in 3 of the bags, I'll be growing Walla Walla onions. And I've grown those really for the past, I think, 3 years now with pretty good success in the bags. And then in 1 bag, I'll have the yellow Spanish sweet onion. And then I'm growing a hybrid red onion, which will be the first time that I've grown that onion. These onions will be ready to harvest probably by midsummer, let's say late July. And once those are finished, I will then replace those with bush beans. At least in 3 or 4 of them, I'll plant out more bush beans. And then I have at least 1 more that'll be empty, and I can determine what I'm going to plant in that maybe later in the summer. And then in the 6 grow bag, I'm going to plant cucumbers. So I usually plant about 3 or 4 plants in one. In the last black grow bag, I'll be planting cucumbers, and these will be direct sown right into the grow bags. I usually grow about 3 or 4 plants in one grow bag, and I'll have a trellis, and they'll be able to grow up the trellis. And then I have 4 whiskey barrels, and 3 of these whiskey barrels I've had probably for close to 20 years, and I'm going to have to replace them pretty soon, but this may be the last season for maybe 1 of them, but hopefully it will survive. So I primarily grow tomatoes and peppers, sweet peppers, in the whiskey barrel. So in the 1 whiskey barrel, I'll be growing a variety of cherry tomatoes. I started quite a few varieties. I'm not sure which one ultimately I will plant out, but usually I'll plant 2 plants in the 1 whiskey barrel. And then I'll have a Cherokee Purple, which is at this point probably my favorite tomato to grow. So I'll have 1 Cherokee Purple plant in this whiskey barrel. And then this tomato is a slicing tomato. It's new to me. It's called Flamme. It is an heirloom tomato. All of these are heirloom tomatoes, by the way. But this is one that I've never grown before. It is a slicing tomato, and I think it's pronounced Flamme. And then in the 4th whiskey barrel, I'll be growing sweet bell peppers. And I'll usually plant about 3 plants within 1 whiskey barrel. All of these are plants that I've started indoors from seed. So these will be all of seedlings that will be planted out probably by mid-May, just depending on the weather. We've had pretty good weather here in my Zone A, Southeast Pennsylvania, so I may be able to plant these out a little earlier than I normally do. And then I have a series of miscellaneous type pots that I grow things in. I have 3 ceramic pots, and I will grow Italian sweet peppers in each of those. So there's one plant per pot, and those are started from seed as well. And then I have 3 3-gallon pots, and I'll be growing a San Marzano, which is like a paste tomato, a Martino Roma, and then in the third one I'll be growing a Brandywine OTV. That's one of my favorites as well. So all 3 of these pots will have tomatoes that I've started indoor from seed. I have 2 large containers that I'm recycling from some trees that I had purchased, and I'm going to be growing watermelon and cantaloupe. Now this will be probably my 3rd or 4th year growing watermelon. I grow the Sugar Baby, so they're the smaller individual size watermelons, which is great for my my growing season. My growing season really isn't long enough to grow some of the larger tomatoes, so this is really perfect. I do start these indoors, and then I plant them out. Cantaloupe, this will be my 1st year growing cantaloupe, so we'll see how this goes. I did start these indoors, so these will be planted out in these 2 large containers. I have 2 black window boxes that I'll be starting some lettuce as well as romaine. And then I have 2 circular planters that I will plant out some early vegetables, spring vegetables like spinach and bok choy. And then one will be dedicated to herbs. So they'll grow the herbs all summer long. And then the one with the spinach and bok choy will just be empty once those have been harvested. So that's what I'll be planting up this summer on my deck. In this video, I'm going to share with you how I planted out the collards and the onions. I'm going to start out first by planting out the onions. So I'm just looking through the seedlings just to organize them. And then with the Walla Walla, I had, and also the sweet Spanish, I had multiple containers of seedlings. So I just wanted to make sure I picked the containers I had the strongest looking seedlings. So the first 3 bags I'll be planting up the Walla Walla. And then I'll do the sweet Spanish, and I'll do the hybrid red onion. I'll be adding a little blood meal to each grow bag. Blood meal is primarily nitrogen, which helps support strong leafy growth above the soil for your plants, and that's important for the onions during their early growing season. You want to grow as many leaves as you can because each leaf represents a layer of the onion. And then I'll also be adding it for the collards as well. Collards obviously are green leafy plants and need that strong growth. So I'll just be adding a little to the soil and working that in. Next, I'll be adding a handful of the Espoma Biotone Starter Fertilizer. This is the great all-purpose fertilizer when you're planting young seedlings. It's going to help your seedlings establish a nice root system. So I'll be adding that for the onions as well as the collards. I usually plant about 6 seedlings per grow bag, and they usually do pretty well. This is the Walla Walla that I'm planting up first, and I'm just going to remove all of the seedlings from their container and break them apart. And they're pretty hardy plants, onions are, so they're not going to be disturbed by, pulling these apart. So typically you want to plant your onions about 5 to 6 inches apart, depending on the size of the onion, the mature size of the onion. And so I'm just going through and pulling out some of the largest seedlings, and I'll plant them, making sure that all the roots are buried under the soil, and I'll just plant them up in the soil. When planting onion seedlings, you want to make sure not to plant them too deep. So I use the white area of the bulb as my guide, and I just bury that below the soil, and then the rest of the bulb. So just be mindful of that when you're planting your seeds, not to plant them too deep. Onion seedlings can have pretty long roots, so make sure that when you're planting your seedlings that you make sure that all of the roots are below the soil surface. And I'll do the same to plant up the rest of the varieties of onions. Here we go. Right now these pots are ready to plant up the Georgia collards. And here we are, all planted up and ready to grow. And here we are about a month later. The collards have put on a bit of growth. You can see there's additional leaves that have grown, so they're doing pretty well. And then the onions have bulked up a bit. You can see the leaves are a little thicker. They're standing up straight. So all is going well. Thanks for watching and happy gardening.